Okay, so this is TK again, back with more content. This is going to be my team builder for week 1 of the PSL. I'm facing Ricky in the Hartford Houndooms. So I'll just go through his team a little bit, what I see as threats, and then I'll go over my team builder. So his first mons are Rotom Wash, Mew, Salamence, Infernape, Clefable, and Swampert. And when I was looking at team building for this, I was super scared of the Mew, the Salamence, and that Infernape. They could all be set up. It could really be anything. That Infernape could be physical or special. It's really hard. Still has really good speed. And then that Mew could absolutely be anything. And it's also his Z captain. So it could be a Swords Dance setup. It could be special with Nasty Plot or Calm Mind. It could be completely physically defensive, which I wouldn't have a fun time with if it was Willow. So I'm really hoping that it's not defensive, and I really want it to be offensive. So it doesn't have Willow. If it doesn't have Willow, I am going to have a lot easier of a time with it and breaking through it. So his other mod is a Salamence. Salamence is another setup sweeper with D-Dance that kind of just runs through any team it wants, no matter how much you prepare for it. So my first 3 mons are built to kind of stop those a bit. And then he has Swampert. Clefable still hurts. It's got Stealth Rocks. It can be a lot of different things. He has Florges, Zoroark, which just could be kind of weird to play around. He has Gardevoir, Bruxish, Houndoom, of course. Hitmontop, which is a really good spinner. Drapion, which is actually a really good counter to my Tapu Lele. And he has Gourgeist, which is surprisingly a good counter to what the team I built was. But I don't really think he'll bring that. And then Floatzel. So I only expect him to bring one of his fairies. If I could choose which one, I'd probably choose Florges, just because it doesn't counter my team as hard, so he'll probably end up bringing Clefable. He'll probably definitely bring Mew. I think it'll be either Infernape or Salamence. I think there's a really good chance Rotom Wash comes as well. And either Rotom Wash or Mew will probably have Willow. They might both be defensive, they might not. Swampert might be there for rocks if he doesn't want to run on Clefable. And I could also see him bring in a Zoroark or Drapion. I can definitely see. I'm pretty sure he's going to bring Drapion. I tried to trade with it before this week so that I'd have it this week, just because I don't have a Poison type on my team, and it's a really good knockoff or dark type that can grab those toxic spikes. But I don't really see him bringing Floatzel, Gourgeist, Houndoom, Hitmontop, or Bruxish. The other mons, like Gardevoir, Florges, Zoroark, he might, depending on what else he brings. And then Rotom Wash, Mew, Salamence, Infernape, Clefable, Drapion are really high brings, and if that's the teams he brings, I won't be surprised at all. Okay, so I'm going to head into the team I brought for him. My first mon is a Psychinium Z Tapu Lele, and what I find great about this Z item is I'm actually running Size Shock and Skill Swap. So if I find I don't need to get that Z skill swap off to go +1 in speed, I can actually use Size Shock as a nuke. It still is 160 base power, so it'll still hit really, really hard. And then I have Energy Ball on there, just for coverage against things like that Rotom Wash, which will probably be a counter. That Swampert, which could definitely be a counter. The Bruxish, just for if I need to get my sweep continued. And the Floatzel, which would normally outspeed me, but with skill swap, I'll get it off outspeed and kill it. And then that third move, I'm packing as Moonblast. It hits the Mew the hardest out of the moves I'm running. I could run Shadow Ball, but then I don't have skill swap. And Shadow Ball would really only be for that Mew and the Gardevoir, because I get better coverage running the Energy Ball. Moonblast helps me destroy Salamence, and if I have this skill swap off, I'll outspeed it. Moonblast also helps take on Zoroark, and I'm running 252 max speed, just so that at a flat speed, I'll speed tie with it, and if I get +1, I'll speed tie with a Scarf, which I could totally expect on a Zoroark. Moonblast is also great for his Houndoom. I'll hit it neutrally, it shouldn't be able to take the hit. And if I don't have that Psychic Terrain up, Moonblast hits the Hitmontop harder too. Drapion, it actually hits neutral against as well, so that'd be my option with that. And another Mon with his Gourgeist, which I don't expect him to bring. That would be easier to hit with that Shadow Ball, but I'm not bringing that option. Because my next Mon is actually a Choice Scarf, Mamoswine. Permafrost, the Mamoswine. I love the name. And this is actually one of my big sweepers for this. I was debating a long time whether I wanted to run webs or if I just wanted to scarf it. And what I decided was that scarf, because webs wouldn't affect the Salamence. So in order to outspeed it, I really needed those webs. I couldn't really use those webs. So with the Mamo, I'll be able to kill pretty much anything. The only thing that really gets in that way is Rotom Wash, but I have two answers for it in the Lele and in the Celebi, and kinda in the Gastro. But Permafrost has that knockoff, which helps with Mew a lot, and if it's not defensive, it can kinda just kill it. And then there's the Salamence, which will get scared out by Askel Crash every time. And with the Scarf Mamo, I think it'll pretty much outspeed anything he's gonna run against it. And it should kill pretty much anything. And if it doesn't outspeed, I know they're scarfed, obviously, and because I have the Psychic Terrain, he shouldn't have priority hit him, so I don't have to worry about like a Mach Punch from an Infernape or a Vacuum Wave from it either. Infernape can get killed easily with an Earthquake. I have Iron Head for Clefable, or I can just spam Earthquake if I really want to. Swampert's kind of an answer, but I have an answer in Monarch and Celebi. Florges should take a lot of damage from the Iron Head as well. Zoroark I'm not worried about with it. Gardevoir I'm not. Bruxish, not really. Houndoom dies to an Earthquake. Drapion dies to an Earthquake. Gourgeist takes a lot from knockoff. So, what I'm really focused on doing this game is wearing down his team with rocks. I have a pivot in Celebi. So, I want to wear it down. And then at some point, I want my Flygon to come in on a Mon I can see before the battle and try to set up and sweep. So, another really important Mon is my Skarmory. The Skarmory will help with any of the fairy types he brings. It walls it really hard. Clefable might have Thunderbolt, but if it doesn't, he has nothing for it. It won't stand against that Infernape, but it's pretty much good for anything else. Whirlwind, just so if he starts to set anything up with like a Salamence, kind of Infernape, but not really, because I have Sturdy, so I'll be able to take one. I could Whirlwind it all out. I have Defog, because my choice card from Mamoswine does not like rocks at all. Roost for that reliable recovery, and Iron Head. And I'm actually running a mixed defensive set, so I'm running 248 HP, 252 special defense, because it's those answer to things like Mew, as long as it doesn't have Thunderbolt, Clefable, Florges, Gardevoir, Bruxish, Drapion, Gourgeist as well. I won't do too much to it, but it still answers it. And then Iron has my one attacking move, just for stab, and it'll hit things like that Clefable and Florges, which I fully expect one of them to come. So my sweeper is Flygon. And I'm sure you can see I have to rely on an Iron Tail hit at least once. I'm running an Expert build because no one likes Life Orb Recoil. It just limits how many turns you can use it. I'm running D-Dance, Dragon Claw, because he has all those fairies, so I can't set up D-Dance and just Outrage. He doesn't really have any Steel types, so I wouldn't have had to worry about that. But if I use an Outrage to kill like the Salamence, he'd be able to switch in a Clefable, immediately kill me, and I wouldn't be able to do anything about it. So that's why I grabbed that Dragon Claw, just so I can switch moves. I have Earthquake, obviously does a lot of work, and Iron Tail for all those fairies. I do quite a bit to a Clefable. I think I do like 55%. So as long as I hit 2, I should have the sweep and don't have to worry about it too much. But that's at +1, so I'll have to make sure I get up 1, and it'll be one of those things where I gotta find what I can set up on, and it's a situational kind of thing, so I'm hoping it works. I'm not 100% confident in it, but it should be okay. And a really important mon is Celebi. It's our next mon on here. I'm running a weird set. I'm sure you can see there's a lot of division in the stats. So it's actually designed to be somewhat defensive, but it's got that 20 speed, so it actually outspeeds max speed Swampert and Clefable. And with that, I can easily wall Swampert just with that Giga Drain, outspeed it if it's fully offensive. And with the Clefable, it's the same kind of thing. If it's a life orb, I can easily hit it, get on out, just to preserve this. I have that citrus berry because I'm already using lefties on my Skarmory, and in our league you can actually only use one item of the same on each team. So I went with that citrus because it'll constantly be pivoting and it'll be taking damage. If it gets taken below 50%, it grabs the citrus. It should be able to take at least one more hit. I made it a little bit mixed defensive with 64 defense, but mainly being specially defensive. It's another Ansel for those things like Clefable, Florges, the things that really scare me. Because I have the Salamence and the Infernape, and other things like that walled with the next Mon, and partially Skarmory. I also have Stealth Rocks, which are super important in this game. It's going to be how I constantly wear down Mons. Constantly getting to switch in and out. I have that Whirlwind on Skarmory as well. So I need to get constant wear and tear on all of his Mons. And it's also a really good way to see what Clefable he's running. If it gets hit by Stealth Rocks, I know it's unaware, so it'll be a lot harder for Flygon to sweep. But if it does not get hit, I'll know it's Magic Guard, and there's potential of it being Life Orb. And if it's an offensive Clefable, I really can't take a hit. So it's, do I prefer to take a hit, or do I prefer to not be able to kill it? So Clefable's a big problem. But yeah, and then I also have Heal Bell on there, so it can easily just come in if anything gets burned, so I can play a little bit risky with like my Flygon. If I really need damage on that Mew or that Rotom Wash, I can definitely hit it with like that Flygon or the Mamoswine, just so if I get burned, I can throw in Celebi. It can take hits from both of those. I can get that Heal Bell off, and then I'll actually be slower than both of them. I should be, probably not the Rotom Wash. And if he runs what I'm expecting with the Mew, having a little bit offensive potential, it should outspeed me. So I can take a hit and U-turn out of there. And I have that natural cure ability, so I'm not worried about getting toxic or burned or anything. And then that final Mon kind of just like takes in the whole team. It's a really reliable wall. But in Calcs, I actually noticed that it didn't take a Z-Close combat from Infernape. I can take it as long as I'm above 70%. And it scares me. Because I totally expect if Infernape comes that it'll be like a C move. And he might just run like a Z Gunk Shot for my Tapu Lele. If he's smart, he won't, because he'll probably just kill it. But yeah, Gastro answers Salamence, Infernape, Swampert, Bruxish, Houndoom, Hitmontop, Drapion, Floatzel. And I was debating a lot whether I wanted Toxic or Mirror Coat. And I decided with Toxic just for things like that Rotom Wash, because it does into that too. I can't really hit it hard, but it does answer it. You can take any hit it has for me. Mew's terrifying, and it's pretty much designed so no matter how much you prepare for it, you actually can't. So it can counter anything it's designed to counter. So I have a Rindo parry on that Gastro, so if he has surprising grass coverage on anything, like a Grass Knot from Infernape, as long as it's not built too special, I should be able to live one, scald it. I have Recover on there, so if I expect him to use like Z Close Combat, I have to recover in order to stay alive. Yeah, I just have to. Or if I lose Gastro, I'll have a lot harder of a time to just wall his team. It's super important to me. If I lose it, then I really can't stop any of his walls from sweeping. I have that Clear Smog, as you saw there, so it really stops those setup sweepers like Salamence or an Infernape, even a Mew, depending on it. So Cindy's really important. Oh, I didn't even go over the names. I have Monarch on my Tapu Lele, just because it's based off a butterfly and it's the captain of my team. It's kind of like the queen. Monarch is royalty. Mamo is Permafrost because it's a freaking dope name, and why not? And it's from I think Thor comics as well. The Permafrost. Skarmory's Bird Sly because it's a sly bird. It's pretty cool. Shades is my Flycon because it's wearing those sunglasses or the desert glasses, those specs. So these Shades. I got the Doctor, my Celebi. If any of you understand Doctor Who at all, you get the reference. He's a time traveler in the Pokemon world, greatest time traveler. Always going to help people, so I felt the Doctor really fit. And then Cindy, it's not an original name. It's from Nappy's Gastro, but I just love Nappy's Gastro. I build it kind of different, use my own spin on things, but Gastro is just Cindy to me. I'm sorry, it's how it is. Okay, so this is my team, and as long as he brings kind of what I'm expecting, and as long as my plan really works like the way I want it to, we should be fine. If he brings any surprises in there, which I don't really expect, which I don't think he will, but that's why they're surprises, then I'll have to move on my feet, kind of see how things are going to play out. But I should be okay. So, somewhat confident going into this match. We're doing it in a bit, but I'll probably cut from this to that match, and if I don't, I'll sign out. Wish me luck. See you guys.